Finally, I'm free from you.
What?
I'm divorcing you. You're no longer needed because I'm gonna inherit $1,980,000.
I had done so much for my husband. He didn't even appreciate it, and simply tried to leave me. Okay, here's the divorce papers. After the divorce was finalized, I sold the house and moved out immediately. My husband doesn't know about a certain secret behind his father-in-law's inheritance yet. My name is Helen, a 55-year-old housewife. I've been married to my husband, Ken, for 27 years. My daughter, Sandra, is 26 years old and just married last year. She is really close with her husband, and she shares things about her love life every time she visits our house. It makes me smile when I see my daughter talking happily, and I'm relieved that her marriage is going well. I'm glad you look happy, Sandra.
Mom, are you okay? Isn't it hard to look after my grandpa?
Oh, I've been doing it for years now, and I'm used to it. Besides, he is going to be hospitalized soon, so I won't have to do that anymore.
Is he? It's unfortunate that he is getting worse, but I'm a little relieved that your burden will be eased. I shouldn't say things like this, though.
Thank you for worrying about me, Sandra.
If you ever need assistance, I'm always here for you. Kevin, my husband, is happy with it.
Well, that's great to hear, but I'm still well enough. I won't need assistance for another 30 years.
That's true.
Thank you, though. That's very kind of you. Enjoy your new married life with Kevin.
Okay, thanks.
I am very grateful that my daughter shows up regularly like this. To be honest, I'm struggling to give him care every day, and it's tough. We started living with my husband's parents about 5 years ago. Actually, they wanted to live together much earlier, but I said it was impossible until my daughter graduated from uni and started living on her own. So I asked them to wait. My husband complained about it, but for me, my daughter is more important, and I wanted her to be able to concentrate on her studies without any worries. I wouldn't say that my in-laws are a nuisance, but suddenly having 2 more people to live with would be confusing for a child. Well, it was also the case that I, myself, was not ready for it yet. In fact, a year after we started living together, my mother-in-law got a leg and back problem. Then she ended up needing care. Then my life as a carer began. Until then, I had been working part-time for my daughter's tuition and our retirement, but I couldn't do that anymore and became a full-time housewife, and took care of my in-laws all day long. Fortunately, my in-laws weren't the kind of people who bullied their daughter-in-law, so I wasn't told or done anything terrible by them. But it was still tough, and I was exhausted both mentally and physically every day. Besides, my father-in-law also became ill and needed care, followed by my mother-in-law. And the hardest part was that my husband left everything to me.
You're a full-time housewife, it's your job to take care of him. Do it well. Don't cause trouble for my parents.
Saying like that, he left all the care to me. Of course, he didn't do any housework for me. He wants to say that he earns money working for a company, and that is enough for him. Ideally, my husband, who is their biological child, should be taking care of his own parents. However, even if I said that, my husband would not listen to me. If I told him that, it would obviously lead to a fight. So I put up with it and continued to give them care. Although life as a carer was tough, I got used to it as I mentioned earlier, and after 1 to 2 years, it became less insanely hard. Then, 2 years after I started living with them, my mother-in-law passed away due to illness, and I only had to care for my father-in-law, so my burden eased a little. Now it's like I'm just coasting, staying married, and continuing to give him care. That's about it. It will end soon, because my father-in-law is going to be hospitalized. Just because the caregiving is over doesn't mean I'll get any rewards, or that my income will increase either. All I have is the feeling of finally letting myself go, and a bit of accomplishment. However, I have been worried lately. That is, my husband's attitude has been very overbearing. Until now, he has left me to do all the housework and care for the family, and he has been a bossy husband, but he had not said such terrible words that denied my personality. However, recently, every time he sees me he says something terrible to me.
You really have an unfortunate face. Just being with you seems to make my luck go down. Please get out of my sight when I eat.
My husband says things like that. He makes me cook dinner, then when it's time to cook and serve it, he tells me to get out of the living room. Although he has behaved badly in the past, still it was never this unreasonable. Well, recently, he's been pretty busy at work, working overtime all the time and coming home late at night, and he's been bar hopping all weekend, so he's not at home. However, on Mondays and Tuesdays, or the first half of the week, he often finishes work on time and comes home straight after. It's at those times that my husband gets arrogant with me and stresses me out.
Hey, why haven't the programs been recorded?
Oh, I was recording the drama I watch and...
Don't mess around. There's a program I want to watch at this time on this day. Cancel your recording. What? Do you have a problem? Who do you think is paying for this TV stand, and the electricity to watch TV?
Okay. I'll cancel my recording.
Come on, quick, you idiot. You're always so retarded like that. You're an old bat and can barely do housework, you're such cocky shit.
It's just awful. Why do I have to be told such things? I took care of my in-laws, cooked meals every day, and even made my husband's lunch, but there is no gratitude for that, and I am mentally overwhelmed by being told such abusive words face to face. I didn't think I could take it any longer, if it became terrible like this. I feel stifled just to have my husband in the house with me. That's why I don't want to stay at home on weekends, and I've been trying to visit my father-in-law since he was hospitalized.
Hey, Helen.
Dad, are you all right?
Thank you so much for everything, and I'm sorry.
What happened? It's so out of the blue.
I realize that I haven't been grateful enough until now. You have been working hard to take care of my wife and me. Ken left everything to you, and thought of us as a nuisance. I wonder what would have happened to us, if you weren't there. I'm really grateful.
Dad.
I'm sure you must be having a very hard time right now. Hasn't he been acting differently towards you?
How did you know that?
Well, I heard the conversation every now and then in the living room even when I was in my room, and I can sort of guess when I saw your tired face.
Did I look that tired?
I'm really sorry for causing you trouble.
No, Dad, you haven't done anything wrong.
That's not true. Actually.
I was told a startling truth by my father-in-law. I see, then I can understand why my husband has been acting differently. Perhaps my husband wants to break up with me. That's why he's been behaving so badly, and waiting for me to say that I want to divorce. No way, I'm not letting him do anything exactly the way he wants it. I was very determined to fight him. After that, I went through lots of things to get ready. In the meantime, a few months later, my father-in-law became increasingly ill, and he breathed his last. Because I went to visit him every day, I was able to be present at his end. Even then, he told me how grateful he was to me, which made all my hard work worthwhile. My father-in-law's funeral took place afterwards. My husband left all the arrangements and preparations for the funeral to me, but he served as the chief mourner, and even shed tears in front of relatives to gain sympathy. I felt like I was drifting quickly away from him when I watched him like that. My husband had only taken advantage of me, and had only taken the good parts. I don't think I should be praised or anything, but I felt like he was taking all the credit, and it was very unpleasant. My daughter had also seen how I did all the care and housework, and he left it all to me, so she gave him a frosty look. Later, my father-in-law's funeral went well, and I was at home with my daughter and her husband. But my husband said he was going out for a while, got dressed and went out somewhere. My daughter was disgusted with him.
What the? It's strange to go out after his own father's funeral. Where on earth does he have to go?
My daughter made a pout. He's probably going to see the other woman. When I said that, my daughter and her husband looked shocked.
What the heck? The other woman? Is Dad having an affair?
She asked me with her eyes wide open, so I showed her the evidence I had collected from the detective agency.
Wow, that's disgusting. Why is he having an affair?
He seems to have misunderstood that he will receive a large amount of money. So he went to a nightclub and tried to hit on that girl apparently.
Misunderstood that he would receive a large amount of money?
Your grandpa talked about the inheritance money to him. He apparently didn't mention the debt, but only the money he would get.
Dad is really stupid, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Of course I'm not going to take on debt with him, I'm going to leave him before then.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'll cut ties with him too. I hope you can get divorced soon, Mom. If there's anything we can do, we'll help you with anything.
Thank you, Sandra. Encouraged by my daughter, I was able to be more brave to separate from my husband. A little while later, I was much more settled with sorting out my father-in-law's belongings and other funeral-related matters. Then one day, my husband told me that he had something to tell me. What? What is it about?
I'm finally free from you now.
What do you mean?
I'm divorcing you. I'm going to receive $1,980,000 of inheritance money, so I don't need you anymore.
Inheritance money. I muttered in surprise, so he grinded and had a triumphant look on his face.
You know, you were a really useless wife. As you got older, I couldn't see you as a woman. I'm leaving you and I'm going to have a free life.
How much have I done for my husband? He didn't thank me for that and simply tried to leave me. I knew it would happen, but when he said it like this, it made my blood boil. Okay, here are the divorce papers. I said it and took the divorce papers from the drawer and presented them to him.
What the heck? You had them ready? How come?
Because you've been speaking harshly to me so much lately. If I'm mentally cornered like that, I will consider divorce.
Well, that's just fine.
He didn't bother to apologize when I told him I was hurt, and took the divorce papers and started filling them in.
Here you go, we are completely not related people. Register this quickly, pack up your stuff and leave. I'll be living in a hotel until you leave. Because there's $1,980,000 coming in.
He laughed loudly as he said that. He packed some clothes for a few days in his carry-on suitcase and left. He says he's living in a hotel, but I think he's going to the other woman's. It seems like he's trying to proceed with the divorce, as if he's not having an affair. I registered the divorce papers to the city council immediately. After the divorce was finalized, I sold the house and quickly moved out. He still doesn't know about the secret hidden in my father-in-law's inheritance. When I informed my ex-husband that I had completely moved out, he laughed and said,
"It took so long, but it's okay because I can start a new life now."
But a few days later, my husband called me.
Hey! Why is the house for sale?
Oh, because I sold it.
What the heck are you doing? That house belongs to me, doesn't it?
What are you talking about? That is a house that my father contributed to for us around 20 years ago. So it is under my name. As the owner of the house, it's my personal choice to sell it, right?
What?
He apparently had forgotten that fact.
That's bullshit. You kept quiet about it on purpose, didn't you?
I didn't. You just didn't ask me anything. I didn't think you would forget such an important thing. But since you received $1,980,000, why don't you live happily with your new girlfriend?
What?
Oh, did you ever think I didn't know about it? I've already investigated the fact that you had an affair with a hostess and are trying to get married again. I have all the evidence I need, and I'll have you pay me compensation money through my lawyer.
Ugh. Well, it doesn't matter if you knew or not. I don't care at all if I give you a small amount of money.
He said that and laughed. Okay, that's good. Then the lawyer will contact you. I said that and hung up the phone. A little while later, my lawyer informed me that everything had been settled. Apparently, my ex-husband had been griping about the payment of compensation money. This was because he had already learned all about the gimmick of his father's will when communicating with the lawyer. My father-in-law did have assets of about $1,980,000, but he had more debts than that. So what was left to my ex-husband was a debt of about $66,000, and with the around $20,000 in compensation from me added to that, his debt is around $86,000. Far from becoming a millionaire, he ended up having a lot of debt. He couldn't afford to pay compensation in this situation, and he even got down on his knees and apologized to the lawyer. However, I told my lawyer that I wouldn't stop demanding compensation no matter what, and to suck it even if it happens to seize his salary. So the lawyer didn't change the demand. The lawyer then told him that he could take the case to court, and he eventually agreed to pay. By the way, when the girl he had an affair with found out that my ex-husband wasn't going to receive a large amount of money, she paid only the compensation and disappeared. He also tried to get help from his daughter and her husband, but she had already deleted his contact number and moved out, so he ended up not being able to count on her either. Currently, he is living in a shabby flat, just going back and forth between work and home, living a poor life, and paying off his debts, apparently. He got what he deserved. On the other hand, I initially stayed with my daughter and her husband, then bought an apartment with the money that the house was sold for. It is near the room where my daughter and her husband live, so I often go out for dinner and have tea with them. Also, since I'm still of working age, I started working at a supermarket close to my house. I've decided to enjoy my life fully from now on. The first thing to do is earn money, and I will go on as many trips as my body allows me to.